はアルとマイクみたいになりたい。でも電話してくれない。オークランドとブックレンドから世界チャンピオンバーチャルプローズ始まるよ。バーチャルプローズ。
To my motherfucking man, 50 grand, the alcoholic man, and jack a tall can in his bloodstream if he can. Biggie Smalls, the stroker, MC provoker, chocolate tie smoker, huh? I like to max and Maximas and Acuras. Your girl butt cheeks, I'm smacking, huh? The raw rapper, spine snapper, with the little, cause on my lap, a shot, but I ain't your fucking comforter. And if I ever fall in love, I bet I'm fucking her. Ask the if I didn't choke her. If she try to front, then I drop the Chucky book.
Episode 84 of that World Champion Sound Virtual Pros podcast. My name is Al, aka Henny Omega, aka the Bandman, aka Bushi Nagata, aka Dr. Keith Drapinski, aka Two Phone Scorpio, aka Super Brazy, aka Pete Gas Break Dip Dip, aka No Speak Broke Boy, Kami Shinsuke Stack a Mill Up, and with me, one half of the Holy Scheming Army, one half of Blemolition, one half of the Heavenly Thotties, one half of the Bread Hunters, my main oos, Mike.
Hey, what's up, motherfuckers? It's Mike, a.k.a. Tiger Skeet Singh, a.k.a. Tim Tam Bigelow, a.k.a. Ramune Reigns, a.k.a. D-Lo Brown Bag.
Today's topic, Merchamania 3. The entire world is watching. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at VRTL Pros. Hit us on SoundCloud. Hit the heart. You know I like it. Hit us on iTunes. Leave a 5-star review and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit us on Spotify. And if you want to participate, email us at virtualpros64@gmail.com. We got some emails, Mike.
Alex, he writes, Virtual Pros Taco Pop-Up.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, Mike and Al? Medium time listener, first time writing in. Love your guys' podcast, and I try and preach the good word of the world champion sound with anyone who also shares the love of pro wrestling with me. I'm planning on printing out a bunch of those flyers you once sent me the file of and passing them out this coming weekend in Anaheim at WonderCon. Can't wait to rock the first stage joint there. Well, that's cool. I hope that went well. Al, super stoked to know that a fellow Pinoy is helping make liking pro wrestling less and less shameful, even though you still seem ashamed to be into it, Pare. Keep up the good work. I have a couple questions. First off, I'm writing in regarding to some pretty old business, so new fans might not be familiar with what I'm talking about. Mike, a while ago when you first moved to Chicago, and you had mentioned that you and your girlfriend had come across a Mexican restaurant serving tacos that had peanut butter as an ingredient. Did you try them? Also, Al, I was slightly surprised that you never mentioned the classic Filipino dish, kare kare. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Which utilizes peanut butter and beef and vegetable stew. Are you not a fan of it? Second, if you could have a taco truck and have it parked at any pro wrestling event in the world, what kind of tacos would you serve and where would you do it at? Take care, Alex, aka Jolly Beware, aka Dinaguan Michaels.
Nailed it.
Great. Yeah, it wasn't a taco with peanut butter. It was just like kind of like an appetizer, like a beef tongue, cow tongue, and a peanut butter sauce appetizer. And we did go there. It's a place called Mitakaya, which is kind of like getting some press. It's like one of those places where you definitely usually have to make a reservation, at least a week or so in advance. It was super good. Everything there was super good. I definitely recommend it. I feel kind of bad because it's like a ritzy Mexican place and there's tons of, regular Mexican places here, but it was well worth it. It was definitely worth it. The taco question, honestly, I would probably pick a nice, quiet, probably Japanese, low-level wrestling event, maybe something independent in the country part of Japan, because I do not want to deal with drunk assholes ordering tacos from a taco truck. So I would want something low key. As far as what kind of tacos, I would go with El Pastor. That's definitely my favorite type of taco. So that would be my choice.
Yeah, dude, I love kare kare. If you ever go to Chibog in Daly City, they serve a banger of a kare kare there. What else? Oh, serving tacos. What would I pick? Probably a steak, because I want to make money, and I don't think wrestling fans are very adventurous in wanting to eat like buche or anything of that sort. So I'm there to make some dough. Where would I serve it at? Corrigan. How about that? I would love to have some tacos at Corrigan Hall. Next email is from Todd. Title Tetris 99. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. Al, I'm amazed by the number of wins you're racking up on Tetris 99. Can you drop some tips and tricks? Do you have a strategy? Are you constantly mindful of who is being targeted with your garbage block attacks? I've sniffed the top 3 but never broke through. Please impart some sage advice. Best, Todd. P.S. I'm not good at clever AKAs. I'm not good at clever AKAs, but can you just make it clear my stance that if you root for Charlotte Flair, you're a cop? Thanks. I'm gonna start off with that. Charlotte and Andrade are just having a modern love story, exchanging wrestling merchandise. They're both doing their tranquilos on Twitter, and I like that. So if I'm a cop, I'm a cop. Tetris 99. I got a couple tips. I think the one that's been working for me is just like tricking people into thinking that I'm gonna get knocked out, but then just like dropping lines at motherfuckers. And so I think that really builds you up. I've been working on my T-spins lately. That's always big. But I think if you can get a lot of people to target you by kind of having your screen in the red and not getting knocked out and getting like KOs early, it's probably like the best path to success, at least from what I've experienced. Also play like in the afternoon, because if you play late at night, you're playing with the Japanese and they don't fuck around. You still playing, Mike, or no?
No, I tend to forget I even own a Switch anymore. I know it would happen. I just like every once in a while I check to see if Animal Crossing has a release date yet. It doesn't. So, it's pretty much sitting there. I'm devoting all my time to Fire Pro Promoter still. That's still going to be my main video game for probably the next 6 months. So
I respect it.
Next email is from John, actually, aka Zach Carls Jr. I don't know if you wanted me to say a shoot name, but now it's too late. It's stuff that's unfuckwithable. What's up, motherfuckers? Wanted to get your take on some things in wrestling that are pretty much universally loved, largely unhateable and generally unfuckwithable. The rarity of this phenomenon recently occurred to me when Liger announced his retirement, as who the fuck could possibly hate on a guy that non-ironically rocks a bodysuit and horns at that age? My answer, mid-90s Kaientai DX era Michinoku Pro. I'm not even gonna bother to break it down, but if anyone can't feel this shit, they may be dead. Anyways, what you got, Virtual Bros? Any other talent, promotions, or classic matches that are straight up impossible to hate on? This is a really tough question just because I feel like a lot of people go out of their way to hate on shit now. Just to be contrary, to have like a unique opinion. I think people do that. I would say, Hustle is pretty universally loved. I think maybe at the time of Hustle, it was appreciated, but I think it was a little too wacky for the time. But the way the direction wrestling has gone in the past 5 years, I think Hustle is like a timeless classic now. And it's not as easily available as some things are on the internet. There used to be a day where you can watch every single Hustle show ever on YouTube, but those days are gone. But I think that's kind of like, unless you are just like a complete grump, you can't hate on Hustle.
Promotions is tough. Gun to my head, and I think everyone likes Battle Arts, or at least like everyone can pull something that they liked from it. People love Ishii. I don't think anyone's ever badmouthed that guy.
That's true.
I was gonna say M-Pro, but you said that. I feel like Dick Togo was like that guy where like people would just like ride or die for. Those are the only three that I can think of off the top of my head. Like FMW had its detractors. Hayabusa had its detractors. People thought he was sloppy. Yeah, I think those are the 3 safest bets. Internet shaming from Piff Pro Wrestling. What a name. Hey, Alan, Mike. I just finished the episode about shoot angles, and your awesome 90s ECW selections got me in a real early internet state of mind. Do you guys think we are being better or worse fans of the product these days now that message board call-out culture isn't as important to pro wrestling fandom? Real talk, I probably never would have checked out All Japan as a teen otherwise. My mental image without YouTube was the oldest, most serious men in the smallest, plainest underwear, choke slamming each other from the ring to the floor for the manliest reasons possible. I definitely never would have fucked with Battle Arts or any number of weird subgenres I now enjoy if I hadn't been cyberbullied by folks on DVD-VR for putting CIMA in my current top 10 wrestlers over Judo Suwa. I think the trade-off for the woke generation is that so much stuff is readily available to watch for free. Younger fans end up dabbling in a little bit of it, without as much gatekeeping. Still, part of me strangely misses being called a fucking idiot for not appreciating the greatness of Katsumi Suda or Takeshi Ono, even though a decade plus later, I'd be hard-pressed to pick one out of a lineup of average-looking Japanese men. Keep the fire, CJD, aka Nice Man Parsons, Nice Man King Parsons, aka Antifa del Norte, aka Reverend Horton's Heater, aka one half of the Fan Cam Connection. I don't know, for better or worse. I mean, since I had such a limited, amount of tape, quote unquote, that I could watch, when I was a teenager, I definitely appreciated it more. I don't know. Are people worse fans these days? I always think at the end of the day, there's hyper nerds that are going to always check other motherfuckers and try to make it unenjoyable for other people. But I just think it's in the middle. I don't think really much has changed.
Yeah, it's kind of just a different attitude completely, because to use the DVDR message board as an example, if you got to that place, you're already in a certain mindset. You're not like some person who just watches WWF probably. You probably weren't that person. You were probably at least heading toward a more underground version of wrestling, or at least a more foreign Japanese version of wrestling. So I think your mind was open to be B-rated and be recommended other stuff. And I think the attitude towards people now that are younger, that were too young to be on the DVDR board, are, they're young people. I mean, it was the same for ages and ages. Young people think they know everything. That's the age-old cliche with young people. And I think young people now just want to watch everything so they could be that old man on DVD VR, but at 22 years old instead of 40, which is a weird look, I think. And they want to be over it. They want to be a fucking expert at something immediately. And I don't think that's good. I think that's a shitty attitude and a shitty way to look at things. So I would say, people back then were better off as fans, because you really had to appreciate it. You really had to seek it out. It wasn't just right in front of you. It wasn't something that you could just be a fair weather fan of, basically. So, I'm not saying the people now are worse, but I definitely think you had to be on top of your shit to even be a fan back then, and that makes you appreciate things a lot more. And I was, a fan back then, but I was never a know-it-all person. I know a lot of people are like that, and those people are always horrible, but I'm glad they exist. I'm just I've never been one of those people. I forget people's names all the time, and I don't mind. Jersey talk. The Vic Falcons jersey was the number one. The Urlacher is a close second, being considerably more popular in upper middle class suburban areas. I was watching some BJW from 2001 and saw Shadow WX and Winger both wearing bright-ass neon FUBU jerseys, which begs the question, Al, what color was your FUBU jersey? Thanks, Grits. Yeah, I think somebody else pointed out they actually had the stats that, Urlacher was, I think, number one in 2002, and then Vic took over in 2003. But with that said, Urlacher was still in the top 10 jersey sales up until 2011 or some shit. So, Vic may have had his time for 1 or 2 years, but he got in a little trouble with the law. I think that made his jersey far less popular after that. And while Urlacher just kept chugging along. Also, so I haven't really paid attention to football in, quite a while. So maybe this is old hat that everybody knows. But when I moved here, it took me 6 months to remember that I lived in Chicago, basically, when I saw people out. I'd always be man, so many people have Bears stuff here. That's so weird. Because in New York, you see people in Knicks and Nets shit and Giant shit, but it's New York. So there's people from all over the country. So you see all different kinds of sports shit. And I haven't lived in a place where people just uniformly wear the same sports shit. So it's always amazing. But anyways, I digress. There's billboards all over the fucking place for some kind of hair product that makes bald men grow their hair back. So when I first moved here, there'd be billboards with Brian Urlacher with hair. And I didn't know he even grew hair back. I was I don't know. I was very amazed by these billboards, and they're still up all over the place. And it's still so weird to me to see that dude with hair.
I do enjoy that everyone fucking rode for me on Twitter the next day, and they were just telling Mike that he was a fucking idiot because Michael Vick was definitely the A1 jersey, like I had said. So I felt justified. I didn't have a FUBU jersey. If I did, it would definitely be the Michigan Wolverines colorway of, it was the blue one, the dark navy with the yellow writing. Although I think there was a dark blue one with a neon green, which was a pretty incredible look. As always, if you want to participate, email us at virtualpros 64@gmail.com. Two-man scramble time. I got some topics. So I forgot what episode it was of Wrestling Observer Radio. I think they were talking about Ali's name change. But they were speculating on whether or not Vince McMahon has ever seen Lion King. Now, like, I swear that I read somewhere that Vince McMahon was like a huge fan of There's Something About Mary. So my question to you, Mike, was if you had to guess what the last blockbuster Vince McMahon saw in theaters, like, what do you think that movie was?
Last blockbuster? It's definitely not anything too modern because all blockbusters now are like 2.5 hours long. And I don't imagine that dude sitting around in a fucking theater for 2.5 hours. Would it happen to be physically in theaters?
Yeah, let's do that.
I would have to say something in the 80s, not even as a joke. I would say probably the last time Vince McMahon recreationally went to the movies, it was probably in the 80s. So, I would say something like Top Gun probably was probably like the last blockbuster, Vince McMahon has seen in a movie theater.
That's a safe bet. I was going to go Jurassic Park. I don't know why. I just feel like that dude has like a T-Rex skull like in his office. So like that's what led me to believe it could be Jurassic Park. But yeah, safe bet. Probably like E.T. or something. I'm with you. All right. So next up, what do you think the bigger finesse is? Bad Boy Hito marrying Megumi Kudo or Bray Wyatt now having an offspring tied to Jose Offerman?
I think I gotta go with Bray Wyatt just because they seem like such an odd couple. I think a lot of people, I forgot who said that, but like a lot of people were defending, I won't say a lot, but I saw at least one woman defending Bray Wyatt's look, saying, he looks like a fucking dirtbag because it's a character and he's probably he is a handsome man under all that bullshit. But, he's still, I don't know, it still seems like a very odd pairing to me. And he left his wife to have a baby with somebody else, and that's real weird because the whole reason you leave your wife is to get away from them and your children. So like to just like to put a baby inside someone else, it's just like, dude, you're just gonna leave again. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think Bray Wyatt has pulled off the real heist of the century move over Seth Rollins. Have you seen his haircut recently? That dude, he got a zero fade on the sides, and he has dreads now.
Yeah,
and
he's had dreads for a while. He just
you're right.
Yeah, they're just a lot messier now. He has like very streamlined dreads, and it's like, dude, just give up the ghost, just shave it off. No one's like, oh my god, if Bray Wyatt shaves his dreads, he hasn't been on fucking TV for like 8 months. Who cares? Just shave it off, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, he really pulled it off, man. Props to you, Bray. You fucking did it. Anyway, we are in the middle of what wrestling fans describe as, the Christmas of wrestling. You're going to WrestleMania weekend, so, like, what are the top 3 matches you're looking forward to this weekend?
Well, I was going to talk about this on my two-man scramble because I only really have this as a topic. So.
We can wait if you want.
Yes. So, I didn't really go over 3 matches. It's really tough. My gut just says all 3 Otani matches basically because, honestly, I'll get into it more when it's my two-man scramble, but a lot of lackadaisical match announcing for this WrestleMania weekend overall, even on WWE's case. Like, they got that next takeover lockdown, but everything else is like, I can't believe they don't have the full WrestleMania card locked down. And we're recording this on Tuesday night after SmackDown. And I mean, maybe John Cena doesn't have a match, but Dave Meltzer was like, he definitely has a match. And just like, they didn't really lock down the tag team shit. So, I don't know, a lot of lackadaisical matchmaking this year.
Yeah, it seems a little scattered. I think NXT is going to be, I'm really looking forward to that 4-way. The women's tag match, or not tag match, but the women's title. Mania card? I don't know. I do want to see Becky end the show with both straps in the air. That'd be pretty sick. Do want to see Okada. I don't even know if he's ending the show. I heard Jay Lethal was going to main event at Madison Square Garden, which is fucking wild. The go home show for Raw they really ended it with Baron Corbin, which was something. I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel. I feel very scattered about it. Last up, most importantly, Virtual Bros chat. What are the top 3 things you're going to eat during WrestleMania weekend?
Oh man. So my whole plan got moved because Saturday I was just going to go back to New York because I'm staying in Jersey City.
Yeah.
And going to Flushing, just eating all the Chinese food I can. But now I'm going to do that on Saturday because I have several hours before anybody I know lands in New York. Definitely the wontons and hot oil at White Bear in Flushing. If anybody's in the area, you definitely got to check that place out. It's not like a real sit down place. They have like one table. It's definitely a takeout place, but it's worth sitting down at that one table to eat these fucking wontons, man. They're fucking great. I forget the name of the stall, but there's like a dumpling stall that it's sad I don't remember the name of it because it's the best dumplings I think I've ever had. But it's in like one of the shopping malls in Flushing. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to, they don't really have bagels in Chicago. Like they have them, but it's not like a thing here. And so I'm usually pretty used to the lifestyle of eating a bagel on the weekend for breakfast or something like that, or like a bacon, egg, and cheese. And that's not like a lifestyle here. So I'm very looking forward to going to this place called Wonder Bagels in Jersey City that supposedly has some of the best bagels in the area. And like we're staying like a couple blocks away. So I think those would be, and there's some pancake place that I'm looking forward to because it's been on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And that's how I judge all my food.
Damn, these wontons, I'm looking at it right now. These wontons and these Dan noodles. Holy shit, man. I'm experiencing some real FOMO right now, not going to Mania weekend.
So I don't have a lot. I'm in the midst of like looking for a job and preparing to go to Mania weekend, and I just sent off all those shirts, so I haven't been in the mode of fucking thinking about bullshit for the show. So I only got a couple things, and one is lame because it's going to be my WrestleMania preview. And I think every podcast I've heard that has somebody going to WrestleMania, they just talk about their shows they're going to. And usually I would not talk about this stuff, but I feel like maybe people want to hear that because every other podcast I've heard said it. So maybe I should tell people where I'm going to be at. But before that, real quick one. I want to give a shout out to the person who took the name Wavy Boy Smith on YouTube. I forget why, but I'm pretty sure we figured out he listens to the show. Maybe I'm fucking just delusional and making that up, but I'm pretty sure like maybe, I think he subscribed to our channel, so he has to listen to the show. Maybe he doesn't though. Maybe it's just weird coincidence, but I just want to shout that dude out because he's like uploading the best matches. Not like the best matches quality wise, but today he uploaded, he or she, I shouldn't just assume it's a he, but he or she uploaded Ishii's debut match, which is not good, but it's like a cool little piece of history. So Wavy Boy Smith, I just want to reach out to you if you're listening to the show. I know you own it. Can you please upload Ishii versus Tiger Mask, hair versus mask match? Because I really want to see this. I haven't checked New Japan World in a while, but the last time I checked, they still didn't put that on, despite it being on a Wrestle Kingdom. It's something like I know I could order it from DVD suppliers, but I'm kind of a cheap bastard and don't want to get a Wrestle Kingdom I have no interest in outside of one match. So if you have this, man, can you please just upload it? Because I'd like to see it. And even if you're afraid of getting like a copyright strike, just you could just make it private and send me a link, virtualpro64@gmail.com. So thank you for your service, Wavy Boy Smith.
And if they cut to me in the crowd and they cut off Ishii's fade, I would have been crying for sure. That'd been a little tragic, I think.
So yeah, I'm gonna give a little WrestleMania preview of the shows I'm going to, just in case maybe you want to say hi or you're just interested in my life for some reason. But so I'm getting there on Thursday morning. Like I said, I'm going to be there for a very long time before the first show starts. I get in at like 11:30. So if you are in the area that early and you are in the Flushing area and you want to go on a little food tour with me, that's fine. Don't be weird though. Like just be cool. I'll be there probably the whole time until Welf gets into town later. We are going to MLW Rise of the Renegades. That's at like 7:00 on a Thursday. I was not really into going to this because that last MLW I went to took forever, but it's cool. It's like the one show where I'm seeing like my actual friends that still live there. Like I'm going to get to see Doan, who's on this podcast a long time ago.
Damn.
Yeah. And get to see Jason Frisbee, who used to be on Pool Party Radio, amongst other things. I talked both of them into going to this weird wrestling show in Long Island City / Astoria, Queens. So they're coming out. Plus, we have to leave at a specific time to get to the next show. So it's not going to be a 5-hour show for me. I can leave at a certain time. But that show, like honestly, the matches sound cool. But it's going to be cool seeing Minoru Tanaka. He's going to be on that show like very randomly. Like we were just talking about him a couple episodes ago, and like what happened to that guy, and all of a sudden he's all over the place again. So it'll be cool seeing him. He's wrestling Daga, which is another guy we talked about an episode or two ago. So I'm looking forward to that. The rest of the matches seem cool, but I honestly don't know what I'll be seeing and what I'll be missing. I have a good feeling I'm going to see the Minoru Tanaka match, so that's cool. Then after that, we are going to Jersey City at 11 o'clock to see AIW Slumber Party Massacre. This is the only show I have like a front row ticket to, so I'm pretty excited about that because I'm used to this comfortable lifestyle, and a lot of these other tickets I have aren't front row. So, you know, this is the only time I get to really relax and be like, this is where I belong. So that'll be pretty cool. I'm really happy for the AIW people. I don't know if you've listened to the show for any amount of time or like follow Twitter. You know, I talk to those dudes a lot. I'm glad they're making it out to a WrestleMania weekend, and their show looks, I was worried because a lot of people that they book now aren't really like household names. So I was like, if they do like a normal AIW show, it might be a hard sell, but they did a good job of like mixing it in for doing like weird shit and like normal AIW shit and then kind of like special shit. They have, Damien 666 and his son wrestling, Eric Ryan, and I think Lucky 13. I think that's who it is. I might be mixing him up with somebody else, but that should be cool. There's fucking, of course, Hornswoggle versus Scott Steiner, which is gonna be something. If you listen to the AIW podcast, they were saying that Scott Steiner has concerns that he can't lift a midget up for some reason. I don't know why Scott Steiner has this concern, but supposedly he's kind of afraid he might not be able to do like crazy suplexes to him. Cause, I don't know, whatever. And of course, Shinjiro Otani versus Eddie Kingston, which I think has potential to be a very good match. I mean, it would have to be. But, speaking of which, fucking Al reported, Dave Meltzer, a little blurb from last episode that Otani fucked his neck up. And that is the biggest fake news Dave Meltzer has ever told. Why aren't there 4 million people on the internet busting Dave Meltzer's balls about this instead of like attendance numbers? I saw that, I read it right after the show, and I was like, man, fuck. And then, like, I think, like, the next day, like, less than 12 hours later, I went to Shinjiro Otani's Twitter, and the first picture was him just wrestling in a match, like, an hour beforehand. And I was like, what the Dave Meltzer really doesn't check anything. This guy is full of lies. The internet has been right this whole time. He's been full of lies. He is fine. He didn't fuck his neck up. So, yeah, he's fine. I also forgot the other kind of overarching theme to all these shows that I'm going to is it is wrestling, and I'm still worried about who is going to swindle me the hardest. I feel like I'm going to get swindled at one of these shows just by it not being that great or something, but I think, MLW, AIW, pretty safe. So the next day is Friday. Friday, we are going to Stardom, so Welf wanted to go to MLW, and he said he'd go to Stardom, so I was like, that's cool. I'll go to MLW if you go to Stardom. This is right now my number one in the lead for me getting swindled the most by a wrestling show. It's like I said, it's Tuesday. General admission was $50, and I got some recon from a friend who's been there before that this might not be the best venue. He said the drinks are real cheap, but he said like the chairs they use are pretty rickety and it's like not the best. So, and it's in the middle of fucking nowhere. Not really, but I mean, like compared to everything else that's going on that weekend, it's in the middle of nowhere. This show is turning into maybe something that won't be great. But anyways, yeah, it's Tuesday. We're a couple days out, and they announced one match and a bunch of non-Japanese women wrestlers for this traditional Stardom show. And I'm a bit worried because the show's kind of a hassle to get to. Also, another thing they pulled off the table is they're going to do their sketchy meet and greet after, where for $20 you'd get a signed Polaroid with whatever wrestler you wanted. And they posted up like a couple days ago, we're not doing that anymore. You gotta use your phone. And that's way less sketchy. Like, I don't want just a phone picture. I happily want a Polaroid. My theory on that is I feel like maybe Polaroid film is a lot cheaper in Japan than it is in America. And they probably found that out the hard way, that they were like charging only $20 for a signed Polaroid. They're not making a lot of profit off that. So I understand why they did it, but it's kind of weird. But I am still looking forward to, that is going to be the biggest, sorry, no offense to anybody who listens to this that's going to the Stardom show also, but that is going to be the biggest assembly of weirdos all fucking weekend. I'm sorry, but, you know, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're one of the good ones. You're probably on the up and up. You're a regular, normal human being. But, man, anytime you read women's wrestling replies on Twitter, it's a dangerous, dark place. And all those people are going to be there. And I'm going to be with, basically I'm going to be there with Welf, who has like no, what was it when you don't have a thing where you can say whatever you want? What's the word I'm thinking of?
He has no filter. He has
no filter. No filter Welf. I'm going to be there with no filter Welf. And it is just going to be, even if I'm getting swindled wrestling wise, I'll be happy as long as we get a dance number in there, basically wrestling wise. As long as there's a dance number, I'm happy. But no filter Welf. It's gonna be something. But then we have to rush back to, of course, Joey Janela's spring break. Again, the show has been hesitant to announce actual matches. They've announced a bunch of people. I guess they have almost a full card now that they've announced, and it's kind of just like, I'm gonna be there for the vibe. Otani versus Gage is gonna be something to see. I don't know how well the actual like technical aspect of that match is going to be, but it's gonna be something to see. And Masashi Takeda is wrestling Jimmy Lloyd in a death match, and that is what I'm most curious about, just because I don't know how hard they're going to go with this death match. In my mind, I'm like, this is like a music venue. They're going to have like one of those baby death matches where they hit each other with garbage cans and you know, do like common shit. But at the other end, I'm just like, man, this is like this dude who has like this very big reputation of being a crazy deathmatch man versus another person trying to gain a reputation of being a crazy deathmatch man. So I'm really hoping they bring the rice out for this and they just like exceed expectations. And it's like a fucking cinder block canvas, barbed wire rope, 1,000 light tube match, like scissor boards and everything. Because if you guys don't know, if you're a casual listener and you don't know, front row tickets to this were $200. And I can't imagine the type of high roller who paid $200 for this was gonna be real bummed out about being that close to people smashing fluorescent light tubes all over their faces. So I'm really hoping they go nuts with this. And I have a nice front row balcony seat for this, so I can just lord above everybody and just be like, ha, look at all that carnage. It's gonna be great. So hopefully it reaches my expectations and it's gonna be like an actual wild death match and not just kind of like safe because we don't want to lose our deposit on this venue death match, but we'll find out. Then finally, Saturday, I am going to see the Orange Cassidy, whatever that's called, at noon, because I kind of thought it would be like a low-key thing that wouldn't sell out, and it sold out, and now I'm like, it's a little less low-key, because I knew it was going to be some wacky shit, and I think it might be a little too much wacky shit, but like I said, I thought I was just wanted to hang out with my friend DJ, listen to the show, and I thought it would be like a low-key thing I could do and just have like a couple beers during the day because it's at noon. But now it might be some wild, wacky shit, and now I'm just like, eh. But it should be cool. Again, I think it's balcony seats, so it's fine. I could just nod off if I need to. But yeah, that's looking to be like the wackiest show. Like I think they're doing like a dodgeball match and something else, and you know how that is if you're into that stuff. I mean, I am into that stuff, but I don't know how into a whole entire card of it. But again, Otani's fighting Jonathan Gresham on that, and that guy has a reputation of being like the move master, so this might actually end up being the best Otani match of the weekend. So that's another incentive of going, so I'm glad I'm going to catch that. Unless they stick them in a dodgeball match or something, and then I'm going to be a little upset. And then finally, going to Spring Break Part 2. This is, I think, just like a clusterfuck match and then 2 regular matches. And regular matches are LAX versus Rock and Roll Express, which is like kind of whatever. It's tough with older people. I know a lot of people like seeing that shit, but it's kind of like anybody who's that old, I'm like, man, they could like for real die in this match. I know, I thought it was hilarious when New Jack beat up Gypsy Joe. I think that's hilarious, but it's just, I'm going to be there live and I don't want to see anything bad happen to these people. So hopefully it's a fine match. And then at the same time, it's like they're going to go easy on them because they don't want to kill they don't want to murder these old men. So it's just going to be a bad match, but who knows? Maybe it'll be really fun. And the other bizarre match of the weekend is La Parka versus Masato Tanaka. And I just think this could go all sorts of wrong. I don't know if that's why it was booked, just because it's a match that could go very, very wrong, but I'm very interested in that. And then I go home. I go home before WrestleMania even starts because I don't want to be there. I don't want to see WrestleMania in real life. Also, besides that, we were thinking about going to Blackcraft, but that seems to sell out. Or it seems like it's going to sell out. And Blackcraft, if you guys don't know, is the spooky wrestling. They have a pentagram on their title belt. And I'm down with that. Like, I like twisty shit, but I remember I turned on their first event and it was just normal wrestling. And I was just like, you got like, if you're going to be the spooky wrestling, you gotta like put cobwebs on the ring, like the ring poster, put like, you know, fake spiders or slime on the canvas or something. And it was just like, looked like normal wrestling. And I was like, man, fuck. But that I'm just like, I'm still on the fence about going just because of one match. It's Chris Dickinson versus Masato Tanaka. And that's another match I think has potential of being like the match of the weekend because I imagine both those dudes just laying into each other. So, even if I don't see that match live, I'll at least rewatch that part of the Blackcraft thing because, of course, I have the Fight TV app with my referral code where I've made thousands of dollars in credits. And so I ordered all of this already. So, I will be watching everything that I missed live. And I talked for about 37 minutes, so I think I'm done.
I got 3 things, I think.
Okay.
Taka Michinoku just posted a tweet. I'm bringing lots of t-shirts with me.
Yep.
I don't want to take any back to Japan, so please buy them all.
Yep.
Pretty excited about that. What else did I have? You really talked me into the building for that Jimmy Lloyd and the Takeda match. So peep our Twitter for that Fight TV code. And I think that was it. Man, I got some FOMO, but New Jersey, just not for me. They should just have WrestleMania in New Orleans every year. And now they're doing it in Tampa next year, man. It's going to be 2 years I don't go. I'm fucking sad.
I know they have benefits for doing it in Tampa for many reasons, but no one wants to go to Florida on purpose. Sorry for people who live in Florida, but that's just, especially Tampa, come on.
Seriously, man. Seattle, Austin. Yeah. If they do Vegas, for sure I'm going. LA, they have that new stadium. Make it happen, dude. I don't want to go to Florida, though. Anyway, today's topic. WrestleMania 3, the entire world is watching. They're going to watch me fucking lose 4 times in a row, I think. I'm real sad about it, but please stay tuned.
Yeah.
Drug addicts.
Yeah. I was riding around in the V12 with the racks in the middle. I was riding around in the V12 with the racks in the middle. Yeah. I was riding around in the V12 with the racks in the middle. Had to pray to Almighty God, they let my dog out the kennel. When you get it straight up out the mud, you can't imagine this shit. I've been pulling up in the drop tops with the baddest bitches. Young nigga been focused on my check. Got a new coupe wrapped around my neck. Tryna put the water on my potato. I got killers to the left of me.
We was lurking on her, ain't show no mercy on her. We was going back to back, we put a curfew on her. It was dark clouds on us, but that was perfect for us. We know you always crash and burn, but it was working for us. Let my tent to V12, double check the details. Gotta cross my T's and dot my I's or I can't sleep well. Millions off from retail, once again I prevail.
Okay, we are back here on Virtual Pros episode 84, and this is Merchamania 4.
Whoops.
And yes, whoops. He has been saying 3, but it's okay. No one cares. This is Merchamania 4. For you guys who are new or you forget the rules, basically it's a pick'em where me and Al are going to pick some winners of matches, and whoever has the most wins is not the loser, and the loser has to pay for a shirt, a mystery shirt that they don't know about, that the winner buys. And the whole deal is to buy them a very embarrassing shirt that they then have to wear out in public. For the past few times, it's usually in a notable place. I think the first one that I lost, which was the first one ever, was the only one where I was just like on the street. But since then, the ante has been upped, where it's been in a lot of exotic places since Al's been losing a lot. But the way this works is we get to pick 11 of any of the matches that are happening between NXT TakeOver and WrestleMania. And it works like I pick a match first, and I'll pick a winner. And then Al is saddled with the loser, unless it is a multi-person match. And then Al is either saddled with the loser or saddled with one of the other the other wrestlers. And then the other person, if they win the one we didn't pick, then it's a tie. or if it's an even numbered multi-person match. And we're sorry this is so confusing, but it's WWE's fault. It's not our fault. But if it's even number multi-person match, then we'll both get an even amount of wrestlers to choose from. And that's it. We go down snakes back and forth. I get to pick first because I am the reigning champion. And that's about it. If there is the slight chance there is a tie, the tiebreaker we worked out this time around is we're going to each take our winning matches and see what the Dave Meltzer cumulative star rating is for all those matches that we won on, and whoever has the highest total is the tie-breaking winner. So we'll see about that. If you guys, again, if you're new listeners, Al lost last time and he had to wear an Izzy Mania shirt, which Izzy's social media people responded to because I refuse to believe she does her own Twitter. He's also had to wear a Roman Reigns vest. But we've put a no Halloween costume rule on since then, because before that I had to wear a Jeff Hardy like zip up jacket, which was not comfortable. So now it's just back to t-shirts, and this is the least prepared I have been for one of these things since we started. I'm kind of just going off the cuff here. I didn't do any studying. I don't really care. I have confidence in myself. I'm not even going to be able to watch TakeOver live, so I am personally going to try and shy away from the TakeOver matches just because I'm not going to be able to see them.
I was going to say, I don't mean to interrupt, but this has to be like the most difficult year in terms of like picking matches. I was like going over both of the cards and I was like, there's like maybe one or two surefire bets and the rest just could be coin flips.
Yeah, and I hardly watched NXT for the last cycle, so I don't even like have any little visual hints of who I could think is winning those matches. But my first choice, I'm gonna just go all out. I don't think this is the ultimate Stone Cold lead pipe lock of this whole entire WrestleMania, but it makes it interesting just because it is already the confirmed main event. So if history dictates, we are going to be tied up until the last match, like I think we have been ever since this started. So I'm going to pick Becky Lynch to win it all. I think it's a pretty sure thing, but I also think there's at least a 10% chance she doesn't win.
That was my second in my power rankings, so I'm really fucking mad about that. But yeah, I agree with you. I think she's winning on Sunday. I do have a Stone Cold lead pipe. Who
are you going to go with, Charlotte or Ronda as your backup, just in case Becky doesn't win?
I'm going Charlotte. And if anything, I don't know. She seems like the most, what's the word here? She seems like she has the most like heat going into that three-way for some reason. I don't know why.
They might pull that Brock Lesnar with Ronda though and be like, oh, she's leaving, and then have her hold the title for 2 more years like they did with Brock Lesnar. But
that'd be awesome. Yeah, I have Charlotte.
Okay, your pick.
Like I said, I have a lock.
Yep.
It's the Demon, Finn Balor.
God damn it.
They can't have fucking Bobby Lashley beat the damn Demon. There's no way they do it. I mean, they're gonna beat the Demon one day, but it's not gonna be this Sunday, and it's not gonna be against Bobby Lashley. So I have Finn Balor beating Bobby Lashley.
I was really hoping you were gonna overlook that match.
No fucking way, dude. Once he said he was gonna be the Demon, I just put that at the top of my list. Speaking of which, so Mike had solicited t-shirt ideas, and a lot of people just wanted me to wear the Finn Balor, what was it called, like the arm sleeves?
Arm sleeves, yeah.
I would do that all day long, dude. No doubt about it, no problem.
So I think this is a lock. It's a late lock because it wasn't on the Wikipedia page, but I gotta go Hawkins and Ryder over the Revival. I mean, that has to happen. It's why the fuck else are they putting these bozos in this match on WrestleMania if it isn't just for the New York crowd to go nuts when they win, and then it'll just be like when Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental Championship that WrestleMania, and they'll just lose it the next day to Aleister Black and Ricochet, I think.
I don't feel that bad about you picking that high. This is fine. This is fine. I'm okay with this. My next pick, Roman Reigns is going to beat Drew McIntyre. I think that's a no-doubter.
I mean, I wouldn't probably outright pick.
The man beat leukemia, Mike.
I know, man, and they can coast off that without him winning, and I think they really want to make Drew a star. So
he's been whipping Roman Reigns' ass for the past month, and like it's starting to make me think wrestling is fake. They got to redeem themselves, dude. I think Roman Reigns is winning here.
I'm gonna go with my pick. I don't feel the most confident about, just because of his past history, and he was left standing tall on Raw, which is always a bad sign. But I'm gonna go with Seth Rollins over Brock Lesnar. I feel like this is gonna cost me the whole thing, but. Like, I just don't see how they could keep the title on Brock Lesnar. No one fucking cares anymore. He gets, like, zero reaction. He's never on the show. It just seems so dumb to keep the title on this dude. But, again, it's also Seth Rollins, and they left him, like, he beat Brock Lesnar's ass on a Raw. So that just makes me think, like, he's gonna get stomped. But, I don't know. I don't see how they could keep the title on this dude. So I gotta go with Seth Rollins.
There has to be one person that retains their world title. I mean, we're in agreement that Becky's going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, my next pick, I think this has to be a lock. I think Kofi Kingston's going to take it home against Daniel Bryan.
Well, I'm very glad I didn't go with Daniel Bryan over Kofi Kingston, because that was going to be my pick over Seth Rollins. So I got what I wanted in the long run. Because
this could be a wash. We'll see.
Because I'm 99% sure Daniel Bryan's going to win that. I think Kofi Kingston's going to win it eventually, but I don't think it's going to be at WrestleMania. It's too new. Like, if they already had a fight before WrestleMania, I'd say he's going to win it, but they got to do the cheater bullshit finish. And the next, it's always rematches. So they'll just do like a steel cage match at the next pay-per-view and he'll win it there or something like that. I just cannot believe he'll win it first shot like that, but who knows? They didn't really have a good week as far as mainstream publicity goes because of that John Oliver thing. So maybe every match will have a happy ending. I don't really know. Man, it's really getting slim pickings already. What's on the NXT card? Fuck.
That's the one I do not want to touch at all right now. I'm horrified by it.
Those are super tough. Like every single one, I can see the other person winning. I'm going to go out on a limb and go Samoa Joe over Rey Mysterio. I don't see the point in giving Rey Mysterio a secondary title. Like, what's that going to do? He's an old man. He doesn't really need it unless they want to feud him with Andrade, but they don't need a title for that. So I'm gonna pick Samoa Joe over Rey Mysterio.
I thought Rey was injured. Is that happening or what? Is he fine?
I heard he was injured, and he was injured because he's injured today, but supposedly they said it like 19 times during the match because I guess they figured other people would think the same thing, but they said he's facing Samoa Joe, so unless they pull a switcheroo, that match is happening.
This is really getting to the nitty gritty. I do not want to lose 3 times in a fucking row. It's been $60. I'm sick of it. I kind of do think that they're going to end WrestleMania with the 4 horsewomen holding all the titles. So I'm going to have the Boss Hug Connection as one of the teams that I think is going to win that Fatal 4-Way Tag match. You have the next pick since we're going to alternate these even competitor matches.
Man, I completely forgot about that match. That's a lock. There is no way they're losing. Fuck, I screwed up. It's not going to be Beth Phoenix. I gotta go with Iconics as the second pick. Yeah.
I was listening to fucking Dave LaGreca, I think his name is, and Bubba Ray Dudley, and Bubba Ray Dudley was talking me into the building about having Natty Neidhart possibly winning the tag team title because her dad, who's in heaven, was part of the Hart Foundation. So I got both of the picks that I wanted. I'm very happy about this selection here. I have the Boss Hug Connection and Natty Neidhart and Beth Phoenix. Either one of those teams winning here.
You listen to like Meatball podcasts now?
Dude, yes, I do, man. I got the satellite radio and the whip, dude, and I was on fucking, I forgot what station it was on. They play fucking, what's his face? Alvarez on there. Sometimes I'll just tune in on those long drives, man. Bubba Ray has like a great, like, sports radio personality. I love that guy.
Okay, now comes the time where it sucks because I have 2 picks left and Al only has to make 1 pick. I'm gonna go with, Buddy Murphy beating Pretty Deece Tony Nese because Buddy Murphy has had the title forever and Tony Nese is the hometown boy, but I don't think they need him to win because it's going to be, I assume, on the pre-show and no one's going to be watching anyway. So, I got to go with Buddy Murphy retaining in that one.
I have one more pick, right?
Yep, one more pick.
God damn it. I'm going to go NXT here. And it's either going to be between the War Raiders tag match or the four-way with the women. They can't put the titles on Ricochet and Aleister Black, right? They're going to go on Raw.
Yeah, probably.
But I don't see Shayna or Bianca winning the title either. And it depends who you pick. This is... God dang it. The Asians screwed me over last year. I can't do it this year. I can't pick with my heart. I'm going War Raiders over Ricochet and Aleister Black. I think that's going to be the move.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's another one I kind of overlooked that I probably should have picked earlier. Because, so for my final pick, that makes it super tough. God damn it. I am gonna pick.
You should pick Pete Dunne over Walter, dude.
No. Let's see. I want to be a little ballsy here. I'm gonna go Adam Cole over Johnny Gargano.
It's a good bet.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that one. I don't know if they're really planning on keeping Johnny Gargano down there forever, but it just seems like just give it to Adam Cole. Even though I guess the original plan was for it to be Gargano versus Ciampa, so that means they should have probably be giving it to Gargano. But fuck it, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna go Adam Cole over Gargano. And, I feel very unsure about these picks, but that's how it goes. That's how it works. So those are our choices. Hopefully that was entertaining to listen to.
One of us is going to wear a Stop All This Tickle Butt t-shirt in public, and I'm really nervous about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad shirts out there, and one of us is going to be wearing those in public. And I have new scenery now. I can wear it in front of the Bean. It'll give me an excuse to go to the Bean finally. And maybe we'll see that picture in the future.
Anyway, those are our picks. Please root for me, because I'm tired of wearing awful shirts in public. It's really, really a damper on my spirit. Anyway, the mixtape. We're going to celebrate the 25 years of WrestleMania 10, the two best matches. Please listen to us talk about these two. Stay tuned.
Last time that I checked, it was 5 chains on my neck. It was no smut on my rep. Last time that I checked, I was selling zones in the set. Make $250,000, no sweat. Last time that I checked. I'm the streets voice out west, legendary self-made progress. Last time that I checked, first you get the money, then respect, then the power and the hoes come next. Last time that I checked, I've been self-made from the dribble. I was been saying I'm a killer. Playing no games with you niggas, pop clutch, switch lanes on you niggas. I laid down the game for you niggas, taught you how to charge more than what they paid for you niggas. On the whole thing for you niggas, reinvest, double up, then explain for you niggas, it gotta be love. Run the city, it gotta be cuz. It's for the pieces I took off the Monopoly board. Yeah, y'all niggas false claims, it gotta be fraud. Just keep the hood about your mouth and you gotta be charged. I doubled up, tripled up, nigga what? Banged on the whole game, I ain't give a fuck. Nobody tripping.
And we're back with Virtual Pros, episode 84. If you haven't already, even though it's not on the mixtape, you should still peep it on YouTube. Look up Virtual Pros mixtape. It'll pop right up. But for this episode, I thought we'd celebrate 25 years of... I think people have this WrestleMania like in their top 3 at least. And 2 landmark matches happened. And since we're in the mood of celebrating 25 years of important wrestling events, I thought I'd talk about these 2 matches here. We'll lead off with Owen Hart versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 10, 3/20/1994. Before we lead off, Mike, you were actually there. You want to talk about your experience there as a child?
Yeah, so was I a teen by then? I think I was just about a teen by then, like 13 or 14,
yeah,
maybe even 15. But either way, so this was my first time in New York as, not to be crude, but a person with hair on my nuts. So this was kind of like, it was kind of a big deal, even though I was still with an uncle and his older friend. So, but they weren't like, 55-year-old uncles. My uncle was like 30 or something. So it wasn't like too weird. So it was my first time being in the city in that kind of aspect. So it was cool. But while watching these matches, I remembered that pretty much my entire time in New York before we went to WrestleMania was spent, my uncle's friend, who was named also Mike, was very into Prince, and we like spent the whole entire time going to all these boring record stores looking for Prince bootlegs. Because back then, if you guys are too young to remember the record stores, instead of like illegal MP3s, you would just have, they would have illegal CDs or bootlegs of like live shows and stuff. And there was many record stores that kind of specialized in this shit. And we went to like every single one looking for like some kind of special Prince bootleg that they would have. And it was real boring. And, I really hate that dude because of that. But, outside of that, it was cool. I remember another thing that like came back to me is I remember my uncle being like amazed by how expensive beer was, but I think it was like $5. And that's fucking crazy to think about now. That, I mean, it was 25 years ago, but beer at MSG now is $13 or $14.
Damn.
So it, 25 years has added a lot of dollars to that beer. And, so there was that. And yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. I didn't have the great seats. The seats were, I think, $23, which is crazy to think about now.
That's crazy.
And, they were in the upper level, but yeah, outside of that, anything else I share, I'll get into it when I talk about my matches. But yeah, it was a cool trip for sure.
So when you were present, just start off this discussion about Owen versus Brett. So when you were present, did you realize how great this match was, like, immediately, or did it take you like years later to like let it settle in and like, reflect on how good this match was?
It was kind of years later. I was at the age where I still pretty much exclusively liked wacky wrestling shit or like scary wrestling shit, but I could detect when a match was good when it was happening, but that didn't like automatically mean I loved it. So when I saw it, I was like, this is one of those good matches that people are going to talk about as being good, but it wasn't something I necessarily loved at the time. That's for sure.
Yeah, same here. I think my first like, oh wow, that's work rate was when I saw Perfect and Bret Hart. And I was like, oh yeah, wrestling can be art. But it took me like a couple years to figure that this match was like really, really good. So I'm starting these notes out by watching like the entire beginning to WrestleMania 10. And like, frankly, it's just jarring to see Vince McMahon open up WrestleMania. So another question for you, Mike, like when did you put it together that Vince McMahon was the owner of the WWF?
It had to be when I sound like I've been a insider wrestling nerd since I was like 9 years old, but the same uncle told me that he didn't say Dave Meltzer, but he's like, there's a guy who writes for the newspaper The National, which was a sports paper back then, and I was super into sports anyways, and he was like, oh, there's a guy who writes for The National on Fridays or Thursdays that has like insider wrestling knowledge. And I was like, what? Like that exists? And so I started reading that like when I was in 6th grade, because that's when it was out. And I think that had to be when I found out stuff like Vince McMahon was like the actual owner of WWF and stuff like that. So I guess like 6th grade.
For you sound like a smart person. For me, I sound like a fucking idiot because it was probably when they had the angle between him and Stone Cold. I was like, oh, he's the owner.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I'm a fucking stupid idiot. Although I do remember, like, when Hulk Hogan was on trial for steroids, I remember, like, seeing Vince McMahon, like, on the stand, and I was like, why is the fucking commentator, like, being tried on trial? That's weird. But mind you, I was, like, 7, so
yeah.
I'm a big stupid idiot. Anyway, before they lead off with this match, they lead it off with a vignette. And I gotta say, I don't know if you saw this, for Survivor Series, all the Hart brothers wore singlets, and Brett, he looks fucking stupid in this, and it's like a really weird way to show like brotherly solidarity. So if you want to see like a really weird outfit choice, peep Bret Hart in the Survivor Series. He's wearing a singlet. This reminded me that in the WWF, like in the style guide and commentary, 1994, they'd call people's faces kissers. And you know what? I kind of hope they bring that back. I think we should all bring that back. Let's just start saying kissers again. Owen Hart's belly-to-belly suplex. That's a big chef's kiss for me. Later on, he does this high-angle German suplex. 2 big chef's kisses for that one. Jerry Lawler, speaking to people on the call, he brought the fucking pen for this match. He's cracking all these old jokes throughout the match. And then he said that Stu Hart had an orthopedic tuxedo, which had me fucking dying at work. What I did forget about this match, though, from the last time I've seen it, which probably was like maybe 10 years ago, like they're really fucking hitting each other super hard in this match. Like they're really going for it. Bret Hart, he gets owned with a bulldog, where I was like, yo, if someone used like a bulldog in a real fight, that's how it would look like. Like it looked real serious. The pile drivers in this match, They were pretty wild as well. The finish, still so masterful in my eyes. This might be the best use of a flash pin of all time. If you haven't seen this, this has to be, in discussion for one of the best Mania matches of all time. Certainly, the best opener of all time. To me, it still holds up. It's still so funny afterwards. In his post-match, Owen Hart has a big loogie on his face, which is real gross, but I thought it was very charming. What'd you think, Mike?
Yeah, so I never liked Owen Hart. I liked him way later on, the Attitude Era, when he was Nation of Domination Owen Hart. I really liked him then, but I did not like him when he was a good guy. I didn't like him when he was a Blue Blazer. I didn't like him when he was a bad guy. I just never liked him. Speaking of which, the nickname The Rocket has always been a bad name. I don't know out of how calculated WWF was at the time, giving everybody characters. I can't believe they were just you're The Rocket, Owen Hart. That is terrible. That is a terrible name. It's crazy. So this match is really slow compared to modern times. It's super slow. And it makes sense that Dave Meltzer would now rate something like Okada Kenny Omega 6 stars, because at the time I don't think maybe he did rate this 5 stars, but if this is 5 stars, man, it's so slow. It would he should be rating modern matches 9 stars, 10 stars, because this is just if you had the mindset where you were this is a 5-star match, it's kind of hard to even compare this to anything now, because even the slowest dad wrestlers don't move this slow anymore. This is at almost a snail's pace. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying you were allowed to do a lot more resting in 1994 than you can do resting in 2019. That's for sure. If a match was paced like this now, people would just fucking be falling asleep all over the place. It's just the way our brains work now. There's no way to get around it. So the people who do genuinely enjoy this and don't just say they enjoy it because they think that makes them sound like an educated master of wrestling or something, hats off to you, because your brain is at a good pace. You have not been poisoned by the world. So good for you. It's also fucking crazy how back then, I'm not even talking about the ending, but another roll-up that happened in the match. It's so crazy to think that back then, a roll-up would get a good pop from the crowd. Yeah. They do a couple back-to-back roll-ups and the crowd's oh! And it's just holy shit, no one would even fucking care about that right now. So it's pretty cool that shit was so slow back then that you can still get a good reaction off a roll-up. Outside of that, this is, it's again, just like when I was fucking 14 or whatever, I understand this is a good match. I don't really ever want to watch this match again. I'm sad I had to watch it again this time.
Wow, this is crazy talk. Okay.
It's just, it's super slow. I get it. It's very... If I was in the right mood, it's just so apples and oranges to stuff that happens now. And, in ways, it's better than things that happen now, because everything in this match makes sense. It's at a normal human pace, where if your brain wasn't poisoned, you would be oh, this is kind of what an actual wrestling match would resemble if it was real. And you don't have that anymore. People do 9 million moves a match, and it does not resemble anything that could ever be real. So in ways it is better, but it's just I think I would have to sit down and watch 6 hours of wrestling from this time period to just reconfigure my brain to be thinking about this. So it's just hard to go back to this and watch it. But another thing, as Al said, the spit on Owen Hart's face at the end is that real white spit from just, having no liquids left in your body, and it's fucking gross. They have the technical ability now. Just get rid of it in post. Just edit it out. Just put one of those blurs on his face. They fucking secretly edit shit all the time at WWE. Just do that. No one's gonna notice.
DVD VR, man. Bully Mike on the internet, dude. I don't like this talk about Owen Brett.
And also, so I let it run for a little while. Right after Cy Sperling comes out, I forgot that was a guy.
Oh,
he used to be not only a client but the president of the Hair Club for Men. And he comes out and he goes, the Fink. He gives him hair because that's what the Hair Club for Men does. And Fink looks genuinely happy to have hair. He has such a glow to his face. They're probably yo, you can't keep that hair because you're the Fink, and people know you to be bald. And so he was probably real sad after that, but he was so happy for final moments of having here. But yeah, that was a blast from the past. Oh, and after that is a Doink and Dink match versus Bam Bam Bigelow and fucking Luna. Why isn't this talked about, like Brett and Owen from this? This seems like, just right up there. Honestly, just like fast forwarding through this whole card, it's pretty solid. And not like solid as far as like scientific technical wrestling goes, but as far as entertainment value, there's a lot of solid shit on this show. But yeah, I know this match is good. It's just like something I can't pop on and automatically calibrate my brain on. It's not like 6'3", just because it's not as brutal. But, you could argue that has a similar pace, but it also doesn't have like brutal fucking neck drops and head drops. So it's kind of missing that. It's kind of missing the ghoul element, I guess I need in order to really focus on old wrestling. But no, I do understand why it's good, and I think it is as good as people say it is, technically speaking.
Man, Brett killed Owen on that pile driver, though, man. It was crazy. I don't know. Just me.
True. Okay, so the next one is, of course, Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon ladder match. The first big ladder match in WWF. A nerd will tell you that they did some other special ladder match before this, to test it out. I think Brett and 123 not 123 Kid. Brett and Macho Man? I can't remember. Some nerd will
Brett and Shawn that had the ladder matches.
Oh, maybe it is.
Shows.
It could be.
I could be wrong.
Again, a nerd out there, please correct us if we're wrong. So this match was just like, this was why my ass was in that seat. I could not even comprehend using a ladder inside of a wrestling match at this point in my life. So I was all about this fucking match happening. I was honestly kind of afraid to review it. I think I watched it within the last couple of years. I do try and go back to this match over Brett versus Owen every few years because, at the time and for a very long time, this stood as, to me personally, the greatest wrestling match I ever saw, just because it was so fucking mind blowing. And it wouldn't be until like 5 or 6 years later until they really started going nuts with the ladders and they kind of like innovated it. So there was a long stretch where this was just like a mind blowing match to me. Before that, while I was fast forwarding to it, another blast from the past was Rhonda Shear, which was the second reason my ass was in that seat, because she definitely had, a couple heavy hangers, as they would say, on her. She was she's a very well endowed woman, and I was a very young pubescent boy. And she also hosted Up All Night, which was like a scummy, like late night. It was like they'd always have like sex comedies and like sex comedy horror movies on there on USA. But it was like censored because it was on USA. So it would be like, it would get you all horned up, but there would be no payoff. So like the payoff would be seeing Rhonda Shear between segments. So, she had my heart back. I'm not even joking just for this show. I'm saying one of the reasons, like one of the biggest reasons I wanted to go to WrestleMania was to be in the same arena as Rhonda Shear because, when you're that age, man, she was definitely one of the people up there for me. But anyways, so that was a different match. But then we get to Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. It is pretty crazy how I guess you would say Shawn Michaels sold stuff then and took bumps back then, because it's like he's taking bumps for moves that wouldn't happen for 20 years later. Like, it's just like every move, like every punch that Razor Ramon gives him is like he just got hit with like a fucking 450 Canadian destroyer. Like, it's crazy how just over the top he is with that. And it's really cool. I mean, at the time, I think he was really the only person doing that besides maybe Ric Flair. So it definitely adds a lot to the matches, I think. I really appreciate and just enjoy how modest this ladder is. This is just a normal ass ladder they got from Home Depot. And I cannot believe they were just like, we'll just have one. We don't need any more. Like, nothing's going to go wrong. That seems like an insane idea to just be like, we'll go to the warehouse, we'll just get one ladder and bring it back, and that's going to be fine. I mean, I don't know the truth. Maybe they had like a backup ladder under the ring just in case, but it seems like they only really had that one ladder because it gets bent the fuck up and they're still using it. And I kind of wish it could go back to that level of ladder matches where they have one real ladder and not some kind of like manufactured WWE brand black ladder. Like, they just have a fucking old ass Home Depot ladder. I think it adds a lot to the match. There is a cool spot in this where Shawn Michaels is climbing up to the ladder, and Razor Ramon follows him and pulls down his pants to show Shawn Michaels' butt. A lot of ladies definitely happy in the crowd after that because they like seeing the butts. And, I will say overall, now when you watch a ladder match, it seems like they're really struggling to go slow up this ladder. For whatever reason, it seems like they were going at a normal pace, where it didn't seem completely ludicrous how slow they were climbing up the ladder. I don't know if that's just me. I don't know, again, if that's just because our brains are used to things moving so fast, but it just seems now, anytime you see a ladder match, there will be at least one part where a guy is going like comically too slow up the ladder. But this match didn't seem to have any of those problems for me. There's what you would call a high spot in this match where Shawn Michaels just does a normal ass splash from like not even the top rung of the ladder. And, that is nuts to think about now of everything else people have done with ladders. That was like a big spot in this match. They, at this point, actually it might have been before this, but it doesn't matter. They end up tumbling outside of the ring. They go past, the WWF regulars back then, including Vlad, of course. And, he kind of acknowledges the camera and hams it up. And it is crazy to me that this dude who has been at this point in like 2,000 live events at WWF in the front row or close to it is still hamming it up. So good for you, Vlad, for not being jaded after years and years of having the best seats in WWF and still wanting to ham it up for the camera. I think this probably doesn't get as much credit as it does, or as it should, because it's not really a spot that happens in matches anymore. But that falling off of a ladder and crotching yourself on the top ropes is low-key, I think, one of the most dangerous moves in wrestling.
Oh, 1,000%. No doubt about it. I would never do that.
And I think that's why you see people do, like, fucking moonsaults off of ladders, but not do this move too much anymore. It is just, like, that is a move not to be fucked with. So the fact that I feel like Shawn Michaels had done that move a lot, even without a ladder, and it's definitely a testament to him. So, don't overlook the crotching yourself on the top ropes move, because that is quite a dangerous thing to do. And for some reason, my poison brain is so fucking full of mush because I'm getting old now. I completely forgot Razor Ramon won this match. So it was a genuine surprise when he won. I was like, oh, holy shit. I am just so used to Shawn Michaels winning everything that I like completely forgot that he actually does not win this one. And so when he pulled those fucking belts down, I was like, oh.
You were fucking there, Mike. What are you talking about?
Dude, I know, but it's just like over time, I just forgot. And I was like, Shawn Michaels wins all the time. So I was just kind of expecting him to win, but no, he sure didn't.
That's incredible.
But yeah, I'm glad. I thought this match still holds up. I mean, it's not the most mind-blowing fucking match it was when I was 14 or 15 years old, but I think Al's one of those people that says the ladder match they had after this one's better. And I think there's a lot of other people that just want to be contrary and say this match ain't shit anymore. But I still think this match is super entertaining and still my favorite match of WrestleMania 10.
I never said that. I just acknowledged that people thought the SummerSlam match was better. I do need to rewatch it, but I do think I've had this one over the SummerSlam match. Anyway. But yeah, I forgot why there were two titles on the line. And apparently that was because Shawn Michaels, he got stripped of his IC belt because he tested positive for steroids. Mm-hmm. So a Razor stepped in and he won the interim title. And I kind of feel like Dana White, low-key, was a kid watching this shit. And he was like, huh, it's a good storyline. I'm going to use that one. Because that's like the only storyline I see in UFC these days. So that's my conspiracy theory. Dana White, huge Razor HBK WrestleMania 10 fan for sure. Admittedly, I'm a bit of a believer in superstitions. So Razor entering the ring and walking under the ladder, that is high-key one of the most daredevil things I've ever seen in wrestling. That's not to be fucked with. That was horrifying. I forgot this happened during the match though, but Razor, he got back body dropped inside out onto some concrete. That's fucking wild as hell. Later on in the match, HBK, he just fastballs this ladder into Razor's lower back, which is even crazier. There's a lot of cool shit that I forgot happened during this match.
Yeah, I forgot to write down. It really seemed they didn't have back science down to an actual science back then, where they're like, oh, we just fucking take all that shit on our back. It's fine. Back's fine. It never hurts when you get older.
I know, dude. That's why. I mean, I'm getting older, and so like I have the aches and pains of just like getting up in the morning. I can't imagine how Scott Hall feels like right now after taking all that shit. But yeah, speaking of old shit that the WWF used to do, like calling faces kissers. Yeah, Mike talked about it, but they were like really big fans of showing people's butts. Like, I'm pretty sure I saw Rick Rude's butt like plenty of times.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to bring this back, for the Fox debut of SmackDown or anything. And, I'm not clamoring for it, but I just forgot this happened. But yeah, I think Mike's on record in thinking that the NXT ladder match at New Orleans was the best of all time. But with that match, I can't think of like an iconic moment like when HBK dove off the ladder, which I guess that in my head makes this Mania ladder match better than the NXT one. I don't know. There just wasn't an iconic moment like that. I think I walked into this viewing like thinking that this might be a little outdated, but no, it's still pretty state of the art. I liked it a lot. And I think this match along with Owen and Brett solidified WrestleMania 10 as, I think, a top 3 Mania of all time. Like, how do you have it, like, off the top of your head? Like, if you had to name top 3 Manias?
It's so tough because you always forget about the bad parts of it. But I think I got to go WrestleMania 20 number 1. Yeah, I guess I would put WrestleMania 10 in the top 3. I would have to really consider it. But what was 30?
30 was Daniel Bryan winning the title.
Yeah, that one ages well. I think that one ages well. But yeah, top of my head, I would definitely still put WrestleMania 10 in the top 3.
I have 10, 30, and 17. I gotta rewatch 20. I know you're a fan for the main event, for main event reasons, but...
That's the thing. I only remember like 2 matches from that, so it could have been super dog shit. It was definitely a time when WWE was not afraid to show you some dog shit, so it could not really hold up. But it was those, forgive time given. Now it's kind of a bad look, that main event, but it was pretty shocking at the time to be like, whoa, they actually put the title on Chris Benoit in the main event of WrestleMania. So it was definitely a big thing.
Anyway, that was episode 84 of That World Champion Sound Virtual Pros podcast. Twitter, Instagram, VRTL Pros, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify. Keep us on there. And if you want to ask us anything, hit us at virtualpros64@gmail.com. Mike, any last words before you dip for New York?
Hey, hope to see some of you guys at WrestleMania. If not, screw off, I guess.
Hey, screw off, but have a good time this weekend and watching some wrestling.
Have a good time.
See you in 2 weeks.